Welcome to the Jboy Show, hosted by Jake Crain, the fastest growing sports show in the nation.
I'm Coach Hugh Freeze.
This is Super Bowl champion Brandon Graham.
Hey, this is DJ Shockley, and you're watching.
And thanks for watching the Jboy Show.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Jake Crain from the Jboy Show. Excited to be here at SEC Media Days. And of course, we're joined by former LSU standout. And you can catch him on Off the Bench with double pits to Hesty, a.k.a. Jacob Hester, T-Bob Hebert. T-Bob, what's up?
Dude, Jboy, what's up, bro? Look, pumped to be here. Vibes are immaculate.
They
Radio
are.
Row's waking up. I'm sorry to hear about the Twitter. You're
Yep.
fighting the good fight, boys.
I am.
We're going to get it done. Hackers, going to get it back from you, dude.
I love it, man. And listen, everybody's behind us. Twitter support, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Again, this is me. Who's the Jboy Show, T-Bob? Who is him? Point him out in the room right now.
Right here.
Right here. It's me.
For
That's
Twitter.
exactly right.
I thought I was missing a bit. I didn't understand what I was
No,
supposed
you're
to do.
good.
Yes,
Go
no,
with
Twitter,
it. That's
literally,
exactly
here.
right. It's right.
You
It's me.
verified it for a reason.
It's me. Surprise. It's me. Anyways, but T-Bob, I do want to talk about LSU
Yeah,
for a
let's do
second
it.
because, again, I've got them second in the West, my preseason predictions.
Okay,
I
love
think Max Johnson's got to be the guy with that new offense. Tell me your opinion. Because I don't want to hate on Miles. Miles had did really well last year before he got hurt.
yeah.
But I'm looking at Max. He can move, use his feet. The RPO game's killer, and we all know how scary the quarterback run game is if you're a defense.
Yeah, I don't view it as either one has to be the guy for LSU to be successful because I think both are really good, but they do have different skill sets, like you said.
I can understand that.
So I don't care. My actual team predictions don't change based on who wins the job. Like I think LSU's 9-3 is kind of where my floor is at. I think 10-2 is a real possibility, but that's either with Max or Miles. I use them interchangeably because I both think that they're really good. Now I do think that Max has an advantage entering camp. It's the same thing that O said entering the spring. He was like, "Well, who's going to get the first team reps first?" He was like, "Well, we had one quarterback that went 2-0, and so that's who we're going to give the opening." So like I think he will be just the slightest. It's like a NASCAR race, right? Pole positions decided during spring. I think he'll start the race in first, but then you still got to go run the race. Okay?
Yeah, that's true.
And so I do think it's a legitimate competition. Even if I was a gambling man, I would say Max wins the job. But again, don't sleep on Miles. I mean, granted, he played against shitty defenses last year, but here's a cat. And can I curse?
Yeah, you can.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
you
I
can.
thought so, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can.
So, but in those 3 games, one of which he played with like a torn app, just complete rip.
Yeah. He basically had a C-section.
Yes, he averaged 375 yards and 3.5 touchdowns per game. Both of those marks would have been first in the SEC extrapolated over a whole season.
Yeah, and I don't want this to be like I'm hating on Miles
No,
or
I
I
think
think
you're
Miles is
hating
not
on
a
him.
good player. But with this Jake Pete's offense, I keep hearing words and people saying it's, you're going to get more motions, you're going to get more spread out of. Actually, from people that I trust have said it's going to look a little like Steve Sarkisian's offense, a little more than people think.
Yeah, I would think so. And let's be clear, and that's LSU is chasing the Joe Brady ghost a little bit.
Yeah, they are.
And the problem last year is they really just took Brady's offense and they truly almost did try to copy paste it, except to where maybe a little so that they stagnated hard, right? Not a lot of innovation there. And with Linehan, they even maybe took.
And you're
some
missing Joe
steps
Burrow.
Backwards. You absolutely miss Joe Burrow. But the offense, it's funny how your expectations change though. Last year's offense would have felt like manna from heaven for LSU fans like a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like people would have been like freaking out for it, but it is what it is. What you've done in hiring Pete, for all the talk of you're going back to Brady, I don't think that's a great, yes, in that is going to be the core, right? The Brady philosophy and system is the foundation upon which Pete will build his offense, but where I think he's going to be better than the situation last year is it's going to be more innovative.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a stagnant. Pete's is going to put his own mark on this. And to your point, he's supposed to be a huge RPO guy, kind of how he made a lot of his name, and Max would seem better suited to running that more dynamic style of offense. But then again, you've seen at Florida, Mullins always loved running quarterbacks. He had Kyle Trask. He was the best guy, so he transferred the offense to fit it better, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I got high hopes for the LSU offense this season. The only thing that gives me concern is their O-line a little bit.
Yeah, and again, that's I believe the game's won up front. You believe the game's won up front.
Yeah.
My last question for you, because again, I love watching Off the Bench in the morning. I'm gonna let you plug that as well.
Oh,
you
yeah,
guys
bro.
were talking about Derek Stingley going both ways, and I have come up, with a term that if he is going to play offense, when he's out there, if he's lined up at Wildcat, it has to be called the Sting T.
The Sting T, dude. I wonder where they would line him up.
It's gotta be slot.
I ain't even
it's gotta be
considered,
slot.
I ain't even
man.
considered a Wildcat. Look, I think if I had to guess, and maybe I'm off base here, I think the headlines about Stingley playing offense this weekend are overblown.
I think they are too.
From the summer. I don't.
But I'm a defensive guy, and I would never do that.
I mean, from my perspective, exactly. If we're just talking risk versus reward with the weapons you have, why would you risk Derek Stingley? Why would you open up? And even beyond that, when he's been returning punts, he's been solid. But he hasn't been uber dynamic.
He ain't Odell out there.
Yeah, he's not like truly threatening teams.
Yeah.
And so, no, man, that's the best cornerback in the nation. Do not put him at least in my opinion. Don't put him at risk in offense unless it's unless a situation where he wants to. Superstar management's a real thing, right?
Especially now.
Yes, if your big dog wants to do something, okay, well then maybe as a coach you have to okay, we can try that out. But I would not be, if I'm the coaches, I'm not going to Sting and being like, hey, we need you on offense.
Yeah, let's get ready to run the post. Yeah, or the bubble. But no, I make the same argument for Tank Bigsby putting him at kick returner. Why are you doing this? Yeah. Why would you do that? It makes no sense, even though he's an unbelievable player. But T-Bob, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, where they can find you and our dear friend, our beloved double pits to Hesty, Jacob Hester. Where can they find you guys?
Off the bench, youtube.com/1045ESPN is where we go live, CST, 7 to 10 a.m. every morning. I'm at tbob53 on Twitter. I don't know Jake's Twitter, so fuck him.
Yeah.
Go Tigers, and shout out the Jboy Show. Love the Jboy Show, dude.
Appreciate it, bro. You're the man. All right, everybody, here with former Auburn standout, former NFL standout, Trovon Reed. Excited to be here at Media Day. Excited to finally meet you in person, man.
Sir,
really, we've done a lot of talking on the radio, but it's great to finally meet you, bro.
Same, bro, man. I appreciate you for putting me on your show, man.
Always, man. I appreciate you coming on. Let's start with Auburn, obviously, Trovon.
Let's do it.
Coach Harsin coming in. You've heard a lot of good things from an accountability standpoint. Guys showing up on time, doing the right things, kind of coming together. What have you heard as a former player? Because, again, there's some things you can say, some things you can't, but just the overall vibe you're getting from Harsin and the whole staff.
The guys love him. Yeah. The guys love him. I always ask those guys, how they treating you, this and that and the third. They love him, man. He definitely put his foot down. He changed the culture in there. Yeah. Like I say, the guys walking like champs, talking like champs. I'm expecting the championship season.
Yeah, and again, they have talent. It's not a lack of talent. There's some place on the offensive line. Obviously, they can get better. But, you look at Tank Bigsby. Is he the best running back in the country, Javon? I think he is.
I think so, easily. There's nothing he can't do. He could catch it out the backfield. He could run it. And now we're in a system where you don't know what's coming. You know, people knew what was coming in Gus' offense, and they still couldn't stop him. Yeah. With this new system, I think the sky's the limit for this kid. I think for sure he's a top 10 draft pick.
Yeah, I think he is too. I mean, he's unbelievable. I think he'll go down as one of the best. But kind of going back to my first point, Trovon, something that you understand, the best players, the most talented guys that, in my opinion, go the furthest, want to be coached hard. Sure. They don't want to be babied. For sure. And in today's society, we got NIL and all stuff, and I'm a fan of guys, being able to make money off their name, image, and likeness. I mean, I'm making money off my name, image, and likeness, so why would I say they couldn't? But just talk about really good players want to be coached hard.
Oh, that's the recipe. You got some guys who real good, don't want to be coached. When they get coached hard, they shut down. Yeah. But you got some guys real good, get coached hard, and they turn it up another notch. Mm-hmm. So you always want those guys to be your leaders of your team. You'll never want those guys who shy away from big moments. I feel like when coach on you, that's a big moment because it's defining you in life. It's life is about discipline, man. And if you could take that coaching from your coach in front of all your boys, no one could embarrass you out in the streets or in a bar or anywhere in life, So, the discipline part of it, that's huge. Yeah,
and it makes a difference on 4th and 1, in my opinion.
Sure.
And speaking about 4th and 1, I'm looking at this Auburn defense, and I had ranked, the defensive units, and I had Auburn secondary number 1. And a lot of, you're going to get backlash from this, that, and the other, whatever. But I'm looking at McCreary, I'm looking at Dre Sean, I'm looking at Bidarius, I'm looking at Donovan, I'm looking at Smoke, I'm looking at Jalen, I'm looking at Ladarius. I mean, it's not just about the starters. Derek Mason has a whole chessboard for exotic blitz packages, mixing stuff up, putting guys in different position, which goes toward disguising, which we all know is the key to the castle.
Listen, I will bet my last dollar that would be the best secondary group in the country. In the country, not just the SEC. They have so much time. I tell Coach Zach Edwards this all the time. I say, you got the hardest job. He like, why? Because who is you going to put on the field? Yeah. Bro, you Nehemiah Pritchard.
Yeah, didn't he mention him?
Tennyson, you have so many guys it's gonna be hard because you got our linebacker core so fast and good. They're not gonna come out in nickel, so you're not gonna put a safety down there, and it's gonna be 5.
It is.
I don't know which 5 it's gonna be, but we're gonna have to rotate them because we really got like 8 to 10 guys who could go right now.
Yeah, well, he's Derek Mason's going to have more packages than FedEx and Amazon combined, man, when it comes down to it, especially with the way they're going to be able to blitz. But my last question, we're here with Trovon Reed. If you don't know the man, Google the man. I'm sure you do know the man. It's easy to find. But when you look at Bo Nix, bringing in Mike Bobo, Bobo for Bo, looking at that relationship, I think it could be the best thing that happened to Bo Nix. And I'm a firm believer, Trovon, in 2 things can be true at once. Bo Nix can be ultra talented and need to be better in the pocket and stop throwing off platform. Me and Jordan Rogers talked about this a lot. But also the offensive line has to improve and the system has to be better, like you mentioned earlier. How do you think Bo Nix does going into year 3 under the tutelage of Mike Bobo?
I think Bo Nix have the most pressure in the country right now. Yeah. Because it's one of those deals with TJ Finley coming in. He either got to play real good and leave or keep the spot. He play average and everybody start calling for a change. Yeah. You know, so. And then also Demetrius Davis could shake some stuff up too. A lot of people sleeping on him. They skipping him and going straight to TJ, but I see him every day. Yeah. And
he looks like De'Aaron King to me, man. He plays like De'Aaron King from Miami to
me. He got a little bit of him and a little bit of Kyler Murray in it. Woo! He got a little bit of Kyler Murray because he got an arm.
Texas boy.
He could throw. And he broke all Kyler Murray records. You know? True. So I mean, the quarterback position is so. Me and Rogers was just talking about it. It's like weird because you can't start Demetrius or Finley over both. Yeah. Because if you do that and those guys struggle, now you got to put Bo back in there. You putting a guy in there with no confidence because he lost his spot. Yeah. You know, so it's one of those deals. You got to start Bo. We got to ride or die with him. And I believe in the kid. I think he got talent. I think he's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the SEC. With a little bit more confidence and a little bit more help from the coaches, sky's the limit for real. Yeah,
and talent's never been questioned. I think him and Mike Bobo are going to put it together offensively. The offensive line's got to do their job, which, you know, again, I've been kind of critical of them. But look, go out in the field, prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. But we're here with Trovon Reed. Trovon, tell everybody where they can find you on social media, my friend.
At Trovon Reed on everything. Easy. On everything, man.
Easy. Well, I appreciate you, brother. We got to do this again soon, for real.
Yes, sir.
All right. It's all love always, man. All right, hello, everybody. Welcome to another segment of the Jboy Show. Very excited to welcome former standout Georgia quarterback. You can find him on 680 The Fan, Mr. Buck Belue. Buck, it's great to have you, man. I appreciate you taking time.
Good to be on with you.
Yes, sir. Well, I want to talk some Georgia Bulldogs with you because, again, and listen, this is my first year technically in media after getting out of coaching, and I actually look at Georgia's roster. I think it's the best one Kirby's had. I think he's set up the best defensively, what they did in the transfer portal. I got him winning the SEC championship, the national championship. Am I crazy?
Let's get you over to Georgia, let you hang out a little bit. These Bulldog fans are going to love you. You know, it's sort of a prove it thing. You know, we've talked about the first 5 years with Kirby. The last 4, they've been knocking on the door and been close. You know, I mean, they had Alabama on the ropes a couple of times. So it's a little tough to get respect right now for Georgia until they can get over that Alabama hump.
Yeah, and you know, you look being up at halftime in a lot of those games, and it seems to me after watching him and going back through the tape, from a second half adjustment offensive standpoint, it seems that, you know, whether it was lack of trust or something, and last year with the quarterback situation before JT came in, I totally understand it. But now with Todd Monken and the combination of JT Daniels, it seems to me Kirby may be on that same Saban path where you realize, listen, we got to open this thing up and score. We're not just going to be able to stop everybody. Do you think this is the year they attack a little more vertically early? You see a little more spread out as opposed to, you know, heavy play action, intermediate game? Because they took shots last year, but they just didn't hit a lot of them.
Yeah, I think it is. I do believe that he has reached a crossroads, and for 2 reasons. One, tired of losing these big games, right? Number 2 is that he's got a quarterback that he believes in. JT Daniels, Kirby has confidence in his decision-making, to be really point blank about what Kirby likes about JT. Good decision maker, getting him in the right play at the right time, right protection. And so I'm expecting Georgia to lead with the pass. I know the last 2 years, the receiving core has not been one of the better ones. In fact, it's been a weakness for Georgia. And I think this year that's no longer the case. Gilbert's in now, trying to help out without Pickens being involved. But the rest of the receiver core is head and shoulders better than it has been. So I'm expecting them to throw the ball around because he believes in and JT Daniels, and this receiving core is better now.
Yeah, and the depth they have at receiver, Kyrus Jackson, Blaylock going down the list. It's funny, Pickens gets hurt before the season, yet you still feel even better about the receiving core with him being able to come back. It shows you the depth they've been able to build. And, Kirby recruits so well, and we hear, he's a great recruiter, but has to win the big game. When you look at them defensively, went and played in the Pollock Invitational and got to talk with Jordan Davis a little bit and JT and them out there. But defensively, I look around, I look in the secondary. Tyke Smith was a huge add, a guy that can be a star at nickel. Darion Kendrick, who I think is a day 2 guy right now in the NFL, if he can keep everything straight off the field. This Georgia defense with Kirby Smart, you can always rely on them to be pretty damn good.
Yeah, they'll be tough. And I really like the defensive line.
I do too.
Jordan Davis, you mentioned him in the middle. Starts there. I like Jalen Carter. Played as a freshman a year ago, and I'm expecting him to be better. On the edges is going to be key for Nolan Smith and Anderson to really emerge as big-time players. And I love Nakobe Dean in the middle at linebacker. You talked about the secondary. Looks like they've got that shored up with some guys that have played the game. And look, he's got some young corners that can play too. Just looking at G-Day, they're not quite ready to help him win big. So the free agency period has been a success for Kirby.
Yeah, it has. And last question for you. When you look at the scope of the SEC and you look at the East, and again, you got to play the games. And one team stands out to me. Obviously, Florida's having to replace a lot. But what Mark Stoops has done at Kentucky, I think, it's hard to not give him a ton of credit. This year, they're actually going to throw the forward pass. It's going to be interesting to see offensively. I've got Kentucky finishing second in the East. I look at the schedule Florida has. You go to Kentucky, to Missouri, pretty tough schedule. Do you think we could see Kentucky not, take over the East? Georgia's going to be running that for a while, but start to be a little more of a player.
Well, I like the job that he's done, and I like their style of play. They play a physical, tough brand of football, which gets you respect in the Deep South, right?
Yes,
they play in that style. So, yeah, it's been impressive. They've given people some problems. Maybe this is the year they make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see it. Buck, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, man. Enjoy the work you do on 680 The Fan. Everybody go check him out. We'll talk again soon, brother. We'd love to have you on the full show one time.
Man. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Make sure you guys subscribe. Jboy Notes. Don't unsubscribe to Jboy Show. Go to jboyshow.com. Grab some merch. We're winning the water cooler here. Talk to you guys later.
The Jboy Show is produced by David Cohn, Technical Director Dave Hammock, Creative Director David Culbertson, Audio Engineer Feyzan Shareef, Production Assistants Blaine Crain and Kyle Orr, Executive Producers Jake Crain, Vince Thompson, Steve Chamberlain, and David Cohn. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and visit our website, thejboyshow.com, for updates regarding our newest apparel and merch designs. Win the water cooler with The Jboy Show.